Oh, I know.
You guys recognize that? Recognize that? Yeah? That's pretty cool, isn't it? So, are these going to be the next designs? What do you think? Here's another one. That one's pretty cool too. What do you guys think? This could be the next designs.
Stackingsurfer.
I think I'm your best friend.
Balances in your bank and stack.
All right, this one's crazy.
This one's my favorite.
This is your favorite?
Can you say that twice?
Yeah.
This one's my favorite.
All right, mushroom 2. All right, this one's so crazy. So my whole career, everybody's thought I was on mushrooms and smoking weed my whole life, and I was not. So all the art I've done for the past 25 years was done with a clear head. I always prided myself on being present. I had a unique connection with nature, and I didn't need anything. Already things were so intense for me. Colors, sound, especially living things. So, you know, all these years, everybody thinks I'm, you know, taking drugs and smoking weed, and it was the exact opposite. And people were shocked to find out, like, wow, you created all this crazy art without that. Well, then, this past year, of course, you know, I was loaded with more drugs than ever in the hospital. Things like fentanyl, propofol, Versed, Ativan, Diazepam, the craziest things you ever imagine. Ketamine. I did more drugs in the past year than probably anybody in this room.
I hope so.
So part of my therapy back, and this is a shout out to all those who have bought stuff from us. We could have lost everything this past year. We could have lost our business. We could have had to shut this place down. But people didn't want it to, so people bought things from us. There was people that just donated money to us. Some people I didn't even know. I am forever grateful because we're still here. And it was hard coming back. It was hard learning to walk and learning to talk and eat. And like, holy crap. And I would like to say that I didn't have any trauma from it, but I was kidding myself. So part of my therapy has been microdosing on mushrooms, which I would attribute to being able to focus long enough to create some of this work. It's been great. It's I think something that's going to help a lot of people here in the future, and take the stigma away from it. And you know, done in the right environment with the right people, I think it can be a great tool to heal people from whatever they're dealing with. I think it's a lot better than the Ativan and the other drugs that they give you in the hospital, which, you know, I was paralyzed and I couldn't talk, and I'd be moving my hand or something, I'd bang on the side of the bed, you know, because I needed something, and they would dose me with, you know, morphine or Ativan into my thing, and I could basically feel it shutting me down. And I'd just be I'd be like, oh no, they're putting me to sleep again. And then I'd wake up and I'm still alive. Okay, you know, like 6 hours later. And like, okay, and then I'd start beating, like, I learned, it was almost like they were penalizing me. If I beat on the side of the bed, and we're gonna shut him up. So anyway, I think maybe some mushrooms or something might have been a lot better. But anyway, let me get back to the painting. The painting is neat because I'm do a lot more earthy colors in it. There again, a lot of blends. I want everybody to kind of look up close to these things. So much effort and time went into this. I normally don't have the amount of time to do things like that. The commissions, it's usually such a deadline that you can't put everything you want into it. And even these paintings, they're not varnished yet, so they're gonna pop when the varnish hits them. I'm probably actually gonna let them sit on the wall and breathe a little while, and then maybe add a couple more things over the next 2 weeks. So if anybody ends up buying one of these, they are gonna change a little bit. They're just gonna get better. That's why none of them are signed either, because I'm gonna just look at it and make sure it doesn't need anything. It feels so good to have time to try to make something as good as you can. And I look forward to doing that in the future too. I'm doing it the way I want to do it, finally. And it feels good. It feels really good. And maybe the mushrooms will help too. So, all right. So we want to go to the little guy first?
Yeah.
And then the big guy?
Yeah.
Oh, little guy, little big guy.
Oh, yeah.
All right, little
And so if you see a red sticker on it, it's sold. And I apologize, but we had persistent people that would not leave us. They were like sniffing around here and coming by, and some of these people
really
have,
good collectors, and so we take care
have done
of
some
them.
amazing things for us. So we, of course, could not say no. And this was one of them. That's why it has a red tag. And this is sunset glass. Knock it off the wall. And so these are little paintings. It's actually really hard to paint small, so I'd rather paint big. But I'm trying to do paintings that are not, the big ones are so expensive, so trying to do ones that are smaller, so they're more accessible. But this is another one similar to Cactus Point. You want me to stand next to it?
Yeah.
Why don't we do this? Everybody can see.
Yeah,
There you go.
It's so nice. You just hold
Yeah,
it.
we're good. Thanks. Yeah.
But what's cool about this is, especially when you're in a place like the islands, like, it could be Tahiti or it could be like Indonesia. Man, at sunset and usually at sunrise, the water's like glass. It is crazy. And it's hot and steamy. The sky gets crazy. And so I really wanted to capture the sky. And I just really wanted to capture this wave. And I did it like this because it's almost like, listen, like the music right now. It's like time slows down. It's like everything, you can't hear anything other than the wave, like you don't hear nothing and then and nothing. And you're just like, something about the red light of sunset. You're like, oh man, I feel so good, And if you see right here, there's a little couple on the beach. And this just gets back to that same thing of you don't need a whole lot, sitting by the fire, hanging out with your chick, you got a little grass shack or a bungalow to stay in. I mean, what else do you need? The sun goes down, you're ready for bed. You wake up next day and go surfing. I mean, that's like the best thing ever. Or in my case, it might be hiking with my wife. So we'll be up there in those mountains somewhere, and then I'll surf afterwards. But anyway, that's why these waves are so tall, because it's just like this slow motion of just boom. And it's just the most beautiful thing to see water like glass. It looks like molten glass. And I know everybody's seen it at some point. But when it happens, it is like the raddest thing. And anyway, that's why I like this painting so much. And the sky was really what I was focusing on with this. So I encourage everybody to go around and look at these closely, just so that you can just see what I'm doing and, all the thought, staying up until midnight, working on them, listening to this. And so anyway. All right,
Very
so
last one.
final one. Huh?
And Christine Lasella, I'm gonna ask you to we'll go in close after, if that's okay.
All right, so this one is the what the show is called, The Surfer's Journey, or A Surfer's Journey. And when I was creating this piece, I was really thinking of encapsulating everything that was going on with me at the present moment. And my hope was to create a piece of art that was everybody could relate to or identify with it still being my normal thing, which is waves and suns. I mean, how many ways I can paint waves and suns, I don't know, but I'll probably be doing this until I die. So here we go, A Surfer's Journey. Yay! Yeah. I like looking at it.
It's my favorite.
So, let me stand next to it. I can't take this one off, it's too big. What's neat about this piece is it's a reflection of me just looking back at the journey. You know, surfing has saved my life. It's guided me through, it's got me here to San Clemente, it's guided me around the world. It motivates me to stay fit and healthy. It exhilarates me. I come back charged up. And, you know, I have this sun and wave in every painting. You know, a lot of people don't realize this, but the sun is regulating everything. Riding waves is like riding the heartbeat of the planet. That energy is coming from the sun. And it gets put into the atmosphere, creates pressure gradients create wind create waves. And what's neat about this is when you ride a wave, that you're not actually riding the water, you're actually riding the energy. The energy is what's moving. It's moving the wave or the water. And that energy is coming all the way across the ocean. But it arrived in the solar wind. So it's a transference. And when you're riding one of these waves, especially in the tube, you're riding the release of energy in that tube. You got to think about that for a second. It's getting ready to be released from the bounds of the physical of the water. And what's crazy about it is when you ride that wave and you're in the tube and it's just releasing all that, you just like time slows down. That's why I draw the water like this. It's because in that moment you're in the tube, everything just slows down. And you can see every drop of water, everything, like just the sound is different. And for that split second, it's almost like there is no time. And then before you can even like notice it, it catches back up. And that's what it is. You're riding that energy. And that energy didn't die. That energy was released. It's the same with us. We're not this body. We're the energy that flows through it. And what's amazing, when you die, you're not dying. You're being released. Not that this is a prison or anything, this is an experience. The energy just keeps going. And it is rad.
9, 4, 9.
That's pretty cool. I was doing a talk in Costa Rica, and the first time I talked about my near-death in public, and I was telling people, and I was just like, look, you got to realize you are the light. You're this. And every time I said, you are the light, these giant lightning strikes hit. And I had no idea because my back was to the sky. And I'm telling these people, and I was just like, hey, man, you're light, you got to understand. And they were like, how's he doing that? We watched the video. It's pretty amazing. Yeah. And so, you know, being able to convey that information to you, and that's what this is. It's like me realizing this is the surfer's journey, understanding this concept. And then I'm looking into the sun, so it's like I'm looking at myself. I'm like sitting there like, oh my gosh, this is like so amazing. And, you know, there again, it's a silly little surf painting, but that's what I'm thinking about. That's what I'm trying to convey. To be so grateful, like I'm standing there just like so grateful. Like, wow, thank you. Thank you for this great ride. And, you know, don't take it for granted. Don't take for granted this machine that you were given to live in for this little while. Take care of it. Because when it goes wrong, as you know, it's not very fun. But when you're released, you feel amazing. There's nothing to be scared of. You feel like you're back in here. I'm going to do another talk on this whole topic in a few weeks out here on the recovery and how I got there. But I got there because of this. I knew what I was, so, you know, it sucked coming back to this body, but it was like, man, this thing's broken. But I knew that I could keep the light on and that I could fix this body and get back to where I am now. It doesn't even seem possible. If we looked at the photos from last year, I don't know where I was last year, but I was probably on a walker. Had, you know, all kinds of problems. I looked like I was 80 years old. Some of you probably remember. And, I was like 135 pounds, and that was gaining weight. So, anyway, so this is a surfer's journey, and I really feel like this is probably going to be my next, probably good print that I'm able to share with the world. And yeah, so I'm just excited that I was able to pull these off. I'm excited to get back to work. And my team, Christine, Maria, Corey, Vidon's not here. We've had a hell of a year, and we survived. We're here. And man, it feels good to be back. Anybody interested in talk to Christine and
Talk to Christine or Maria.
Maria, and that goes online too. You got to text them. And if not, just look at the paintings up close, enjoy, look at the other art around here. Other things that are new here at the gallery are, of course, the silver coins, which everybody is excited about. That's amazing. But also the skateboards. We've been doing really cool skateboards. We got 3 new ones. And then also the surfboards. We have surfboards that we're making that are printed, so they're more affordable than the hand-painted ones. And I know we were supposed to have 2 Lopez's. They're in the back, and they didn't make the show. They had some I'm a perfectionist, and I was sanding on them and trying to make them perfect. And I was like, oh man, I can't pull this off for the show. So I'd rather do it right than be rushed. And so I pushed it aside, and so they'll be coming in a couple weeks. So anyway, thanks everybody. Enjoy. Now I can have it.
Thank you for stopping by today. Take a look at Drew's studio here on the way out. And for those of you that have not done so yet, please hit the subscribe button, the bell icon, and also a thumbs up if you like this content. That way other people will find it, and you'll be notified of the next video that comes out. And until next time, peace out.